Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox, and I am coming to you today with the review for Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 9, The Reunion, Part 2. So let's get to it, shall we? First of all, let me just say that I don't understand why this had to be 4 parts, because I feel like the first 2 parts could have been 1 part. Okay, and I know I'm gonna feel like the last 2 parts could have felt like 1 part. I know they have to stretch it out for ratings and everything, but it has been lackluster thus far. At least it has been for me. I feel like they've shown most of the arguments on social media before we even get to the show. So by the time we get to the show, it ain't nothing big. So whatever. They talk about Porsha's anger management. That's where they left off last week. The charity money that Candy gave her, whether or not that was for her, if that was for charity, that was definitely for her. For her to say something like, we talking about now. Well, obviously, if only Phaedra and Candy gave you money, okay, they was trying to help you out, and Candy specifically, so... But I do agree that a lot of times they are negative when it comes to Porsha. When it comes to her, they're not supportive of her. I guess that is because of everything else. But she does have a point there. We get it back into the whole thing about her being bullied and whether or not she's apologized to Cynthia and Kenya for, fighting them. And she said that she's apologized to them both. Kenya says she still hasn't received that apology. She did not use the words, "I apologize." So I guess that's probably why Kenya doesn't consider it an apology. But that was the best that she's going to get. She's never going to get anything else. They asked Phaedra, does she feel like Porsha gets bullied? And she said in many circumstances, yes. We get on to Kenya and Matt. All right. Who feels like talking about this? Both Cynthia and Candy said that he was crazy and that she didn't need to be with him, but she already knew that. It was so funny when Andy brought up her having sex in the truck. She tried to glaze that over and didn't answer it at first. But he asked her again after she did all of that talking. And she was like, unfortunately, yes. I was like, okay, girl. I mean, at least, keep it real now. I know motherfuckers be crazy, but sometimes, that passion get high and you be out there fucking in trucks. That proves that she wasn't really done with them at the time. Okay, they start talking about domestic abuse and, Shereé and Kenya. Kenya's whole thing is never okay for, a woman to be blamed for domestic violence. You can't provoke somebody. I will never believe that. Okay? You can definitely provoke a man as a woman to hit you. When you asking for it, you asking for it. So, I mean, her and Shereé got into this whole discussion about whether or not Matt hit her or was, violent towards her. And Shereé was like, I don't know what he was doing to her. My whole point was she needed to worry about what was going on with him. Her to be saying that she's so afraid of Porsha, but for her to be dealing with Matt all the time, and he has shown plenty of times that his ass is violent. So, Kenya still won't own up to her taunting Porsha, but she did. Somebody wrote in and asked her when was she going to have a real relationship and stop hiring all these men to act as her boyfriend. She said that she has not hired anybody, even though Matt has been on on social media with all these rants saying that she paid him or that she owes him or that she hired him. She said it's not true. They asked her when's the last time that she dealt with him. She said that she talked to him. I think he texted her on New Year's Eve and said that he had been to church and that he was going to be a better person, but she said she actually hadn't seen him since Thanksgiving. And, she knew that she had sent the wrong message to young girls out there and that it's never okay to stay with a man that is violent, that shows any type of violent tendencies, that you should leave when the first signs of aggression show. So that's her confirming her PSA status. You guys remember they said that she was going to be doing a PSA as her future endeavors when they were signing off from there. Funny thing, Andy always got to be shady. Brought up Matt posting Porsha as his Man Crush Monday. And, she was just like, he can have him. Porsha was like, absolutely not. Motherfucker don't have enough money for me. Then we get to Phaedra and her divorce. Are the boys okay? Well, they're young, so they still don't quite understand. Plus, Apollo probably has been out for a couple of years now, so kids that young, they just kind of work you out of their memory, and it's not that big of a deal. Is she going to be dating? Well, she's met somebody and she'll see. Okay. Andy introduced her to her. Oh, you mean Shamar Moore? I said, oh, no, he did not blast that. And she was just like, we'll see. Oh, she definitely has a type. Not Shamar Moore look just like fucking Apollo. That same old light skin, I'm looking. Shamar Moore, I still got my good eye on him. Ain't really too sure why we can't get Shamar Moore tied down to some woman. They asked Kandi, did Joyce go too far when she went to go find out about the divorce? And Kandi said, yes, she definitely went too far. She should not have done that. So it was somewhat of an apology, her at least taking credit for, or not taking credit, but, admitting that her mom was wrong. Instead of Phaedra just saying, I appreciate that, she was just like, yeah, see, I don't even really know why they're so concerned about my marriage, which actually I didn't understand why they were so fucking concerned either. I guess it was for the show's sake. She was just like, they got all their other shit that they trying to do, and Kandi was just like, well, what are we trying to do? I mean, what we got going on? And she was just like, well, you guys can't seem to open OLG, and she was just like, we are opening tomorrow. Andy was like, oh, are you? And she was just like, yes, which they did. They did actually open right after that. But, at the time when you're not open, it's kind of a way for somebody to kind of jab at you and be like, mm-hmm. And Shereé lives in Chateau Shereé, too. Kandi was just annoyed with Phaedra because she was just like, it's obvious that she has talked to somebody out there and they want to come and, make it hard for us or something. She was just like, well, you really think I have all this power? And she was just like, you do know people down in the city office. Yes, you do. But we're opening this week. Let that be known. She's an old vindictive ass. Okay, just like how she got wrapped up with Johnny. He hadn't worked for me in almost a fucking year. And then, 8 months later, here all of a sudden he come talking about he want to sue me. Phaedra maintains her innocence. I did not talk him into trying to sue you. He came to me for advice and he had a case. Okay, that's all she kept on saying. He had a case. Kandi was just like, whatever, girl. No wonder you don't win no cases. You don't know what you talking about. And Phaedra was just like, and that's why your ass is getting sued, because you don't pay your employees. Okay, tit for tat, child. We done been up and down this road so many damn times, it's not even funny. Andy tries to come in and say, well, weren't you happy that Kandi came in and, saved you from Joyce when she obviously was trying to confront you at that little OLG, preview that she had for you guys? And she was just like, yeah, I guess I was, but they always throw stones. And, she was just saying how much, Kandi and Joyce of them have been out to get her. As far as Black Lives Matter, we already talked about this in the reviews back when it happened. I thought that it was ridiculous that Phaedra was trying to wrap Black Lives Matter around the fact that one of the homies came down to the fucking building and was trying to drop off a bomb CD. The white people, because they don't talk nigga speak, did not understand that that's what he was doing, and they called the fucking police. That story still doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense to me. But, they said that they dropped the charges and they done moved on with it. So, hey, if you like it, I love it, okay? But, yeah, that story is crazy. Talked about her having this bodyguard. She was like, don't everybody have bodyguards? They were all like, no. So, why didn't you tell the girls that you were getting a divorce? Well, I didn't feel like they were my friend, okay? And that's understandable. You don't have to tell these girls anything, okay? She was like, so, it's my business, and I share who I want to share it with, which was with Porsha now. Porsha got a big fucking ass mouth and she spilled the beans, And Porsha said when she was watching it on TV, she was just like, and I was like, I knew she was, because as soon as she said it on that episode, you could tell she was like, fuck. I was not supposed to say nothing. But she, apologized to Phaedra for doing that. Then Phaedra pulls out paperwork. She says that, she does have something for Andy. Okay. And it is the paperwork on the final judgment and decree of divorce. She's telling them that it's finalized, honey. Kenya and them was just like, no, it's not. How did they have all that information, honey? They had to check that shit out. She was like, no, they had to misspell the names on the damn divorce paperwork, and Apollo was not notified of it because they didn't have the name spelled right. So the judge has thrown that out, and Phaedra was just like, well, how do you know all of that? It was all over the blogs. I don't know if the blogs found out because of this reunion. That's when the shit came out or what. But I was just like, she is so molded. Because, girl, you had to sat up there and said that you got divorced. And they was like, no, you not divorced. It's so funny that the divorce ain't came up with Cynthia. I guess it's gonna come up when the men come on. They just flat out lied too. We raking Phaedra over the coals, and Cynthia Peter ass hadn't even filed for divorce at that point. Phaedra's always like, I don't know why y'all so worried about my life. Okay, they really had Phaedra on the ropes, honey. Kenya was giving it to her. She was like, are you still talking to Apollo? She was like, girl, I don't want Apollo old chocolate. Okay, you take them both. Then they talk about the kids of Real Housewives of Atlanta and how they've grown up, watching Noel and Cairo and Mr. President, Mr. New Year's Eve, Riley. I mean, just kind of talk about how they've dealt with the show and the things that have happened. Cairo's DUI said that he had been smoking earlier, and that's why he was taken in, because they had admitted it. You be talking too much when you be scared and shit. Noelle, growing up, how smart mouth she is with Cynthia. She reads you quite a bit, don't she? Yeah, she does, Noelle, I've been around Cynthia and Noelle together, and Cynthia definitely is one of those moms that let her get away with it. She's not a bad kid, but she can be sassy for sure. They asked Candy, did Riley want to sing? And she was just like, she was really excited when she released her song, and Nicki Minaj posted a comment under her. I said, girl, they ain't asked you that. They said, do the child want to sing? Because when we look at it, it just didn't seem like she was really that much into it. And Katie was just like, I don't have time to be forcing her, because my group is getting back together and we gonna be singing and touring and making movies. I said, girl, not movies. Y'all doing too fucking much with this movie thing. Who want to see an escape movie? Y'all raise your hand. Anybody? As far as the subject matter on the show, do the kids get affected by that? Well, Candy said she had already talked to her kids about the whole lesbian thing when all the shit had actually went down, and they were just like, whatever. Cynthia also said she spoke to Noelle about it. Well, shit, we saw when Cynthia was talking to Noelle, talking about how when she kissed somebody, and I was just like, girl, you was doing the most, okay? The most. The last little bit was all about Shereé and Bob and how they thought they were going to be able to work it out and how he hasn't changed. She hadn't talked about any of this with her kids or her family. Even though stories have been out there that them two used to fight. So, I'm not quite sure what she was talking about there, but I guess her directly having a conversation with them, she hadn't. And it was actually, I'd still feel for Shereé in that, people say that she's just acting and everything. I just don't feel like she's acting. Yeah, their marriage was fucked up and they had some bad times, and she probably was hurt with all the shit that has happened. Shit was brought to the surface with the show. I thought it was really cool that all of the ladies, gave her words of encouragement, even from Kenya. And her and Shereé have had their little beef has just been petty, catty, nothing serious beef. So I hope they don't try to make nothing bigger out of that. But I thought it was cool that Kenya said what she said, and Candy, everybody. Because like Candy said, she had never seen her that way on the show. We have never seen Shereé expose weakness. Okay, we can always tell, not always, but we can usually tell when she's lying or when she's just trying to put on extra for the show, 20 on 10. But we've never seen her just break down and cry and be vulnerable and stuff like that. So I thought that was real. When Phaedra said that she was disappointed in Bob because it was obvious that he had not grown up and that he is a nice person, but there's this other side that many times nobody else sees unless you're very close to him, like a spouse. She said that she was ashamed of even thinking about trying to go back, okay, because he treated her the way that she would never want her daughter to be treated by a man. Kind of started to feel like maybe this was her co-signing that it was okay, and they were like, no, don't ever feel like it's your fault. I mean, you tried, the shit didn't work out. What did you learn from this though? And she said, well, it's just, you gotta love yourself, you gotta know your worth, and if you are with a man and the shit is going in this direction, then you need to get out before it's too late. So they ended on a really nice note. I actually was just like, oh, this was nice. But for all of the, intents and purposes, them saying that this shit was about to be, 4 parts of just a whole bunch of scandal and razzmatazz and, excitement, that ain't been what it's been. These first 2 episodes, I swear, could have been 1 episode. These next 2 episodes better be fucking out of this world. That's all that I know. Alright, you guys, that's it. Still gotta do Housewives of Potomac. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm itsrox. The channel is for itsrox. Everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. Alright. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. I plan on doing the same. Till next time, Roxstars. Bye.